Hello, beautiful adventurers. Welcome to Elevate Thursday. Today on Elevate Thursday, we're talking about the art of surrender. This has come about because we are currently going to dive into studying the surrender experiment in our Conscious Business Book Club in April. So it got me thinking as to what are your ideas about surrender and how does this actually even how does this work with business? What does it even mean when we're looking at our soul lead business? So, what I thought we would do to start with is let's talk about what I believe surrender is and how I frame surrender, so we're on the right same sort of wavelength with each other. And then I want to see what you think about it, and I'd like to see, are you doing this in your business or not? So, the first the first idea that I used to have about surrender was that it was kind of like this giving up. It had this really resignated feel like, okay, I'm surrendering. So, hmm, like that kind of feel, right? So the energy was really, really different. But now, what I believe that surrender is letting it go, is releasing, is allowing something that is bigger than us, something that has a wisdom bigger than us to take us forward into our next soul led steps. Yeah. Hello for those joining me on Facebook. Please say hi in the comments. If you aren't part of StreamYard, I won't be able to see your name. So just pop your name in brackets so I know who you are. Hi to those on Instagram who are joining me. We are talking about the art of surrender and what this means for your business and for you. So, as I said before, at the start, I thought surrender was all about giving up. It was like this resignated feel like, okay, I'm surrendering now. And it always felt really bad. Like every time I worked with the coach and thought, you need to surrender, I was just like rolling my eyes. But now what I believe surrender is more about surrendering the ego that wants to have control. It is surrendering the ego to something that is bigger than us, so that that thing that is bigger than us, whether you believe in God, universe, soul, spirit, whatever you believe in, something bigger than us. And what I mean by us is our ego. Yeah, something that is bigger than our ego can jump in and guide us towards what it is that we want to create. Okay, so hello, Charlotte. Welcome. Stoked you're here. Edina, making beads for incoming guests while listening. Awesome, Edina. I'm stoked you're here too. For those of you who are just joining me, hello to Elevate Thursday. Say welcome, and hello to those on Instagram as well. We're talking about the art of surrender. And this is in approach to the Conscious Business Book Club, where we are diving into a book about that thing in the next 2 months. So it got me thinking about what are my ideas about surrender already before I dive into the book. Like, what is it that I think it is? And we're discussing that right now. And then we'll discuss about how do you actually take this idea of surrendering, the spiritual idea of surrendering, into your business so that it makes it easier for you to thrive. Yeah. Yay, Charlotte. Yes. So surrender to me is really about letting go of the control that we want to have, that our ego wants to have, letting go of having to know all the time that our ego needs to know. Like, it's always like, I can't make a decision unless I know what's going to happen, right? And that's all fear-based, right? So surrender is really like, okay, when things aren't working out for me, or they're getting complicated, or they're getting hard, how can I just let go more? Yeah. How can I release the fear? How can I sit back, lay back, and be in the space of trust and faith that I am taken care of? Yeah. So there's a lot of kind of different energies with surrendering that were quite different to the idea of surrendering that I had at the start. Right at the start of my spiritual journey, I was like, when someone said surrender to me, I was like, so we're giving up then? Well, that sucks. Which was totally the wrong energy, right? What the energy of surrendering is, as I said before, allowing your ego to take a step back and actually go into its proper place, which is in support of the soul, and allowing the soul, or something bigger than you, whatever you decide that is, allowing that part of you, that connection with spirit, that connection with the universe, to come forward and take the leading role. And often your ego has no idea what that leading role is where it's taking you. Yeah. Because remember, the thing that is bigger than you, the thing that is bigger than your ego, i.e., bigger than your mind, knows more than your little wee mind knows. And so the art of surrender isn't about giving up. It isn't about like, I give up now, everything's gone to crap, and that's it. I'm just laying back, right? It's not about defeatism. It's really the energy of letting go of your ego, allowing that which is meant to lead you to come forward. And implicit in that is this faith and certainty that the universe has got you. Yeah. You are being held. You are being supported towards you expressing yourself in your highest way. Yeah. And sometimes, and I know this sounds really contradictory, right? Because sometimes when we do that, we're like, okay, cool, it's going to be really good. Like as soon as I surrender, everything's going to work out really well for me. I didn't actually say that. What I said was, it is allowing that which is higher than you to come forward and to guide you towards your highest self expression. And sometimes the way in which we learn about what our highest self expression is by experiencing things that aren't delightful. Okay, because there's a lesson there for us to learn. And it is necessary for us to go through that learning phase in order for us to then step into the highest expression of ourselves. Yeah. So it's not all love and fairies all the time. Like when we go, I'm going to surrender now, so everything's going to be fine because the universe got me, right? Sometimes it will lead us into the direction which is painful, which is gross, which is hard, which feels yucky to our ego in order for us to grow into more of who we are meant to be. Yeah. So just a caveat on that. It's not necessarily going to be all fluffies, but it is leading you towards your highest self-expression. Okay, let me have a look at some of these comments. Aloha for those who are joining me on Elevate Thursday, on Facebook, on Instagram, and those watching the replay. I appreciate you jumping on. Okay, so Facebook user, I guess this is Erina. When we practice letting go, the outcome is always incredibly amazing. I'm so glad I got out of the roads that could happen type outcome. Yeah. And as I just said before, eventually the outcome becomes incredibly amazing. At the start, it might not necessarily be because there are still lessons for you to learn. Charlotte says, so good. Yes, exactly. Even when it's not like what we thought or wanted, the hindsight piece. Exactly. Yeah, and this part of you, surrendering to this part of you, which knows a better path, or knows a more direct path, or knows the lessons that need to be learned, or knows like more in the direction of where you should be going, is allowed to come through and be expressed. And as I think it's Irina who popped that comment in, it doesn't necessarily look the way that you want it to, because remember, most of your wants, most of the way that most people want or desire is ego driven, right? So I need it to look like this. This gives the ego that sense of control, right? If I know that I can create this my business, like I'm going to create $10,000 through this many clients through this program, then I feel really safe about that. Yeah, that's the ego speaking. And if you were to surrender that piece over to soul, for example, or spirit or universe or God or whoever you want to call that higher part of self, it might look different. Yeah, that $10,000 or whatever it is that you're desiring to come into through your business might come through a different avenue. And your job is to get unfixated from how it's going to come. Yeah. Unfixated. Now, I didn't say do not be focused on it, right? Because there is also a piece there of which you have to have some focus of your energy towards what it is that you desire to create. However, unfixated, i.e., not attached to it. Yeah, not attached to how it's going to look. But, that could be cool if it looked like that, right? That kind of feel. Okay, any questions so far? That is my definition of surrender. It is less of the defeatism. It is, well, let's say not even less. It is not defeatism. It is not giving up. It's not just like, oh, well, fuck it. Which is kind of what I used to think surrender was. And every time like someone said to me, you have to surrender, I was just like rolling my eyes. I was like, oh. What surrender really is allowing your ego to take a step back out of the leadership role, where it shouldn't be anyway, because the ego's proper place is for it to support the soul. Yeah, that's where it should be, in second fiddle. However, we sometimes are so conditioned to have our ego lead. So surrender is really about surrendering the ego, allowing the ego to take a step back, allowing the ego to sit in the discomfort of the unknown and the not in control space. Yeah. And allowing soul, spirit, universe, God to come forward and lead us to where the path is that we can have our highest self expression. Yeah. Oh, so how are we feeling about that? Like, how are we feeling about the topic of surrender? Is your ego getting rattled? Is it like, oh my God, I don't want to do this? Or is it like, hell yes, let's do this? Um, let's do a rating. You know, I love ratings. So 1 to 5, 1 is like, I am so scared of surrendering. That sounds horrible because I need to know everything, i.e., your ego's kind of in front. No worries. I've been there. Don't worry. You're in good company. And or 5 is like, I'm so ready just to surrender, to be in the place of trust and faith, um, that the universe has got me. Yeah. And remember that I also said that it doesn't mean releasing your focus or your energy or giving up on that way. It's about releasing any of the control or fear that your ego is spitting out at you to try to understand and control the situation. Yeah. So give me a rating 1 to 5. Hi for those who are joining me on Instagram. Hi for those joining me on Facebook and watching the replay. We are talking about the art of surrender. And we've just really chatted about the first part, which was the definition of it. Yeah. And we will shortly jump into, well, what does this mean for your business? Okay. And I kind of gave you a little example. So let me know, where are you at 1 to 5? How comfortable are you with surrendering? Yeah. Um, Charlotte says, it's helpful for emotional states. You can compartmentalize and put away something difficult and seemingly unsolvable and work on something else while you subconsciously still problem solve. Yes, I love the word surrender. Edna, number 4, excited about learning what wants to be and how much more simple and ease filled my life can be. Yes, beautiful. 5 was comfortable. Yes, 5 is like absolutely comfortable with surrendering. I pretty much surrender all of my stuff to the universe, but focus still on what I desire. Yeah. 1 is like, it scares the crap out of me. I don't want to do that. That sounds horrible. Okay. 5. Oh my gosh, you guys are so good at surrendering. Well done, you. So then the next thing is, how does this actually work in business? Okay, because we've got goals, we've got bills to pay. So we can't necessarily just sit back and go, well, the universe got me. I just got to sit here and wait. Remember that the way that we manifest anything in the physical world is a balance between the feminine and the masculine energy. Surrender is the art of feminine. It is from the feminine energy of surrendering, right? Allowing, yep, receiving. Mhm. Equally, to have what it is that you desire to create in your business, to have that come into fruition in the 3D space, we need to take 3D action, or we need to have some kind of masculine energy to balance out the surrendering, right? So, what does that mean exactly? How can we still stay in the art of surrender and not do, right? So, this is kind of like the paradox that people get stuck in. They're like, well, I was surrendering and you were meant to take care of me, and then you didn't. Now, I don't want to surrender. Now, my ego wants to really take control. Or the ego is totally in control and it's like, why would I surrender when it seems to work for me? Yeah. And every time that I surrender, it doesn't work for me. How do you continue to surrender, and yet, which is a feminine energy, and yet still have the stability, the foundation, and the security that comes with the balance of the empowered masculine energy? Excuse me, my phone is just doing some weird things, so let me just sort that out so it stops beeping. There we go. So let's tackle that, because I also see and this is where it gets to be really, you get to be so freaking honest with yourself about how you use surrendering, right? Because I see a lot of surrendering with people and it is masked as surrendering, and it's not really surrendering, it's giving up. Okay. And I see this over and over again in the spiritual space, where it becomes a cop out, where it becomes an excuse for not doing things that are fearful to the ego. Okay, so people go, well, I'm just surrendering. I'm just letting it happen. I'm just blah, blah, blah. And they just don't do the thing, right? Okay, great. This works if you are truly surrendering Yeah. And then when those nudges come through, you are following up on those things. That's when it works. Yeah. It doesn't work when you are masking fear and you're using surrender, the word surrender, as a way of which you're getting out of doing the things that you need to do. Yeah. So we get to be really honest every single time because there are many moments to surrender in your business. And I sit there in a particular practice, which I won't go through today, but a particular practice of mine that I go through to know whether it is my ego actually masking and going, We should surrender, i.e., give up." Yeah, that's what it really was. We should surrender. Or if it really is my soul going, it's time to let go. Yeah. So you need to be very careful with being able to recognize if it is your sneaky ego getting in there and saying we should surrender, i.e., let's run away from the thing that scares us, which, as I said, I see a lot in the spiritual space. It's an excuse, it's not real. Or if it is truly soul asking you to surrender. Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when you are in the space of surrender, true surrender from the soul, and you get a nudge to do something, there is when the action or the masculine part of action gets to come in, right? So now it's time to take action. Go for it, right? Equally, what the masculine does is it holds the space. Okay, so it's a space holder, it's a container. So, as I said before, as we're coming into this conversation, the second part of today's Elevate Thursday on surrender, I was saying, yes, you get to surrender, but you still get to focus. Hmm. Let me explain that a little bit more. You're allowed to surrender that which the ways of which, if things aren't working for you, especially if things aren't working for you, this is usually a sign that you need to let go, right? So if things aren't working for you, a particular way of marketing your business, a particular thing that you've been pushing, a particular message, a particular whatever it is in your business, you get to let go of that. You get to surrender that and go and ask a question, well, how can this be done better? Yeah, I'm leaving it up for you. So there is still a will in there. There is still a focus point. It's not just I'm just going to let you figure it all out. Like, tell me all the things. We still have to, if we want to create what it is that we want to create, we still have to take some responsibility with asking and presenting the right questions for universe to be able to give us answers, right? So one of the big trip ups of surrendering, when people go, I surrender, I'm just going to let it all happen to me, is they don't ask a question of which that gets to be answered. So are you asking questions when you surrender? Yeah. Are you asking the sort of questions that will allow you to step into that which you desire? Because we are, and if you aren't already familiar with my work, which I think most of you are, we here talk about conscious creation. Conscious creation. Yeah. So are you asking questions of which of which your guidance will be more fruitful for what it is that you want to create? That's the first thing. So we still have that masculine energy of asking questions. Yeah, that's a structure, that's a framework, that's a channel of which soul, spirit, universe, God can come through and answer for you as you are surrendering. Yeah. So that is how we get the balance there. That is one way of which we get the balance there. Yeah. As we ask specific questions when we surrender, okay, I don't know how this works. It's obviously not working the way I'm doing it. Show me. I let go. Just show me. Show me how to do it. Yeah. Equally with that, we have a masculine energy here of focus. We're still very much focused on what it is that we want to create, knowing that that thing has already been created for us. Okay. So again, remember, there's a fine line between surrendering from the soul and surrendering from the ego. And sometimes when we surrender from the soul, we also surrender from an egoic state and we go, okay, I just give up. And we lose total focus of what it is that we actually want to create. So what is it that you want to create? Let's go with money because money is one of the easiest things, right? I want to create 20K this month. Let's go with that. Okay. So if when you decide to surrender, do you continue to focus on that of which has already been created for you? 20K is already here. I'm in trust and certainty that it is. I just need to I just need to ask, how is this going to happen for me? Show me how this can happen for me. Yeah. So can you see that there is still, even though you are in the art of surrendering, which is a feminine energy, that there still has to be the balance of the masculine energy that asks questions, that focuses the energy towards what it is that you want to create so that you don't just get lost in all the things. Is that making sense? Drop a yes in the comments. Drop a no in a question if that's not resonating with you, or if it's not making sense, should I say? Okay, let me have a look. Erina, recent awareness is that I have surrendered my soul nudges by listening more to the nudges of others. Oh, say yes, exactly. So, yep, beautiful. The more I am learning to claim my guidance and allow myself to listen to that and follow that, things are unfolding easily and more clearly like never before. Exactly. Yeah, beautiful. Charlotte, aim implies precision of well thought out decision. You can still have aim and intention, but it's when roadblocks appear, how you deal with them on the way to the final outcome. You can go around through them, under them, over them. It's when all your efforts arrive at the same point, the surrender comes, and then acceptance of decision. I love that, Charlotte. Charlotte, lack of faith leads to giving up. It so absolutely does. Humility leads to surrender until the way becomes clear. Absolutely, Charlotte. Yes. So, has this been useful for you? Are you seeing areas of which you can improve upon your balance of surrendering but still keeping the faith? Let me know. Yes, it has been useful, beautiful. Are you seeing areas in your business that could use some surrendering? Like, it's just not freaking working. That thing is just not freaking working all your life. Yeah, your business or your life. Are you seeing something that could perhaps use some surrendering where you just need to let go and allow that which knows better to come in? Yes. Amazing. So, lovelies, let us wrap up today's Elevate Thursday. If this was useful for you, please tag your friends or share it with others who would love to learn about the art of surrender and how this relates to their business, especially those who are in the spiritual space, because because I hear this going around and I think there's a misunderstanding of what it really is. Um, I would love for you to share this knowledge with those who you think could benefit. Charlotte says, especially around financials, money, or putting forward a difficult concept where there is reluctance to take it up, but you know it works. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's where beautiful surrender comes in. And if you want to dive in deeper with us into surrendering, this is the book that we are reading, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. We are diving into that in April next week in the Conscious Business Book Club, which is hosted by me. And it's only $11 a month to join us. It's slightly different in the Conscious Business Book Club. We do a month of reading or rereading, because sometimes, like a short book like this won't take me long, but I'll reread it. And then we do a month of implementing, okay? A month of action taking, the masculine and the feminine, right? So what is it that we learn from this book? We then go and we take 3 things that we'd like to do and we action it. And the fun thing about being in the group that I have found, which has been just beautiful, is that because of the accountability, I'm actually following through with that which I've learned. Yeah, rather than just reading a book and then popping it away and it gathers dust in the shelf. I'm actually like going through and making that which I've learned from a book into something that's going to change my life and my business. So we are studying the Surrender Experiment, Michael A. Singer, in the Conscious Business Book Club starting next week. If you want to jump in, you have up until next Friday to join us. So let me know if you do. I will drop the link to join us in the Conscious Business Book Club in the comments or the description of this live. And it's only $11 a month. So we go in and we hang out. We have a private group of which we share our ahas, quotes that we have, learnings that we do. And then when we come to our action month, like any of the support that we need to continue to action that which we've learned, we have in the group. We also have 2 now. It started with 1, but we're now having 2 calls, meeting, like book club calls via Zoom. So you can be anywhere in the world. We have 2 book club calls one book club call every single month. The first month's call is about kind of sharing our ahas and what we're going to do about it, so taking the action. And the last one is a book debrief, and it's really about what did I learn, what am I going to carry on with, what didn't I follow up on, which I need accountability for, how am I taking this book into the rest of my life. So if that sounds fun for you, if you are a spiritual entrepreneur, change maker, leader who wants to learn and implement by reading, and you want to be part of a cool little group that has started, then consider joining the Conscious Business Book Club. This is the book we're diving in for April and May, The Surrender Experiment. As I said before, we spend 1 month reading and 1 month implementing, which means that the things that you gather in here actually make real change in your business and life. Alrighty, lovelies. Lovely to hang out with you. I will catch you very, very soon. And again, if this was useful, please go and share this with all of your people. And I will see you same time next week for Elevate Thursday with another beautiful topic about how to expand your energy, mindset, and consciousness to grow your business. Bye for now.